Here's a interesting bike that we got in to the thrift store as a donation. It's a Batavus. It's a bike I've never worked on before, from Holland. It's a Mixte type of frame, which we worked on a Motobacan project over the winter last year, and I have a video up on just the bike itself, not the actual build. This bike is in really pretty good shape. There's a little bit of rust down here in the bottom bracket area. At least I think it's rust, or maybe it's some buildup of oil. But there's a little bit of rust here around some of these brazed joints. But it's got fenders, nice fenders. And it's got a dynamo on it, which I'm kind of torn on whether I want to keep the dynamo on it or not. I'm going to see if I could get it to work, but I have a feeling that probably taking the lights and the dynamo off is probably what we should do on this bike, but I'm still not sure. I'm kind of torn on it because it is kind of cool that I already know that the rear light is working with the dynamo. But not the front light. It's just this dynamo that's on the wheel itself, and so you click in, you flip a bail here, and it pushes the dynamo wheel against the wheel, and essentially you're just turning this generator and generating electricity, and the light turns on. I will probably start by giving this bike a good clean. The best I can tell, it has flat tires on it, but the best I can tell, the bike itself actually is in working condition other than needing some air in the tires. Handlebars in not too bad a shape. There's some light pitting on this light bucket. And a really pretty script for the Mixte Tourist, which I assume is the model. And there's a real interesting old water bottle holder. And IC appears to be the manufacturer, or maybe Intercycle. I need to look that up a little bit more, and I'll try to get another shot of this outside the stand. Very neat details on the frame though. This is a really classic, beautiful bike. It does have cotter cranks, which aren't my favorite. And you can see the rear light that's powered. You got the wire directly from the dynamo up here, just running off the wheel, off the tire, the way it looks like to me. I don't know how this is adjusted. Again, not something I really have worked on very much. I have seen a bike or two that have come in that I've just simply removed those dynamos. And it has some Shimano parts on it. Front derailleur, and I believe the rear derailleur as well. The grips kind of look like old Schwinn grips a little bit. And the levers appear to be just Diacomp. It's got Wyman symmetric side pull brakes, and it's got these very cool wing, quick, I guess you call them a quick release, but basically these just spin to remove the wheel. Very classy. The rear has the same setup. It has a 5-speed rear freewheel, and a dork disc that actually is pretty classic, steel. All the reflectors are on it. This reflector is damaged on this side, unfortunately. I really wish that I don't have anything to match it. It does have the Pletcher rear rack, which I think I'll leave that on. And it has an IC branded saddle that appears to be in pretty good shape. Kind of a saddle that you would see on a number of comfort bikes back in the day. I've got the 2 springs in the back. Probably mostly just dusty, but it's definitely staying on the bike. And here's some of that detail that was being covered up by the stand. Very cool. These badges are all in really good condition, and I won't know until I clean this bike, but for the most part it looks like the paint's in good shape. So I'm going to start by giving the bike a full clean. So I'm going to use my diluted simple green, give the bike a good spray down. Might take this water bottle holder off. It's pretty rusty, and it covers up the logo. In fact, fortunately that's one of the places where the decal, probably the most important part of the decal, where it's not looking so good. Yeah, these handlebars look great. These are in really good shape. The chrome, probably a very quality chrome plating. A little bit of pinning on the crank here. I think a little steel will help with that. Yeah, I really like this kind of creamy white paint that's on here. I don't know if that's just aged or if it, it was kind of a bright white and then just has kind of aged to this kind of more yellow white. Chrome on the top of the fork here looks like it's come out pretty decent. There's a little bit of pitting on it, but it's not too bad. This is definitely not a perfect frame. The more I'm wiping on it, the more I'm seeing a lot of the stuff that's in the paint is not just dust and dirt. It's definitely some wear, but it's not an abused bike by any stretch. I think it's just a bike that saw some use. The brakes are amazingly shiny. with the calipers. With these bikes, we don't try to be heroic and try to do a restoration on them. We simply try to clean them up enough so that someone can, and tuned up so that someone can use them and go riding. Or if an enthusiast purchases it, they can get an assessment of what they're buying. You can see that this is just built up material, and so that will all clean up. That's really good news. Yeah, so we're able to get this area that was really gunked up with oil and old oil, grease, dirt, and everything. We're able to get that mostly clean. We could keep going on it, but I think at this point, I think this kind of shows that this area is in pretty good shape. I don't know what that can do. Just to show the dynamo works on the back. You can see we have our light shining. So I'm just going to replace this front derailleur shift cable. It's cabled all the way from the shifter. That was quite frozen. This end is really frozen in. There we go. A little bit of force that way. So again, as a start, a little bit of oil along the whole length of the cable. Help it slide and maybe prolong its life. It's interesting that this actually was cabled all the way down to the front derailleur. Usually it's not like that. And, I'd prefer to have the free cable because there's a lot less friction that way, because there's a little bit of friction along the whole line. And I've got something that's holding this up. And we still have this loosened up. So I've run fresh cable to the rear derailleur as well in black. So we're kind of matched up at least with the shifters. I ran this cable way that came on the bike. Seemed like it was original. But the way this frame connector here would be, in my opinion, this would look like it has some kind of clamp in here to run air cable along here. But I don't know. my hunch is that would be done. But... All right, how's this rubber? It's hard to see. This brake here just got twisted around, so it just needs a little bit of an adjustment back. Generally kind of get these underneath, maybe just cant it out just a little bit, you know, just where it feels natural. If it doesn't feel right, I'll sit on the bike. If it doesn't feel right, I'll adjust this again. I'll adjust this one as well. It seems like it's a little far in. This drivetrain was making some noise. Then I noticed that this screw that's holding the fender up is hitting the chain in this when it's in this highest gear. So I'm gonna have to file that screw back or find another way to attach this fender. You know, that was who knows how long it's been like that. So added 3 washers in here and took a little bit of the bolt off the end, and we've got pretty good clearance now. I don't think we're going to have any more of that chain hitting that bolt. Yeah, this isn't coming off. I'm afraid this is probably something that's gonna involve a lot of work, and I think I see some evidence of where it's flaked off. I think unfortunately it's gonna be a feature of this bike, is that the wheels are a little rusty. It's really hard to find steel wheels that are pristine these days. I think this front wheel is a little bit better shape. Yeah, I guess if this were my bike, I would try to find some aluminum Araya rims or something from the 80s. You know, even 27-inch, if you had to get those. I guess you might be able to get 700C on a conversion here. Looks like you have a lot of brake length. That might work as well, but that's where I would probably go. I would probably go for the conversion if I had the wheels. So we don't have a stuck seat post. Steel bike, steel seat post tends not to be a problem, but I always like to check. Interesting spacer here that they have on this, so that the bolt is sticking out far enough where you can get a wrench on it without having to, and still use a a box end on it. Nice touch. This is some really light polish. It's called Swirl Remover. I'm not really trying to do a lot to this, and I'm trying to be careful with these emblems. But this is kind of rough in here. I'm just trying to clean this up a little bit. Where that bottle cage was. It's a little better. Again, we're not going to try to get too heroic with this. I'm just going to try to make the bike a little bit more saleable. Really, in the end, we're just trying to maybe get some of the dirt off the frame that didn't come off with the simple green. Something that needs a little bit more of a mechanical. Yeah, this is definitely helping this frame up quite a lot. Yeah, there's an example of a spot that just had some stuff caked on. Be careful around this head badge. It's really cool looking. So on these spokes, just taking a little 4/0 steel wool, little piece, taking that steel wool and just running it over just to take off the worst of the crud. Not trying to polish or anything like that. This does clean them up quite a bit just in a single pass. That looks better. We'll repeat the process in the front wheel, which is in a little bit better shape. It looks pretty good. I've elected to keep the light system on the bike since I got this to work. Someone can always take it off later, I figured, if they don't really want it. Yeah, just kind of polishing up the chrome, all the little bits. Not polishing it a lot, just getting a lot of the coarseness out of it. Making it shine, but not going nuts. One thing I forgot to do is I like to oil up these shifters. I just drop a little bit of tri-flow right on the interfaces. It just makes them operate just a little bit smoother. Just kind of work it in. In fact, I might have to retension these. Like this one's lost its tension here, so I'll probably have to add a little more tension back to it. Do the same thing for the brakes. So just drop a little bit of tri-flow in. I find it just makes the brakes a little bit snappier. Also off camera, I lubricate all these little pivot points in the front derailleur and the rear derailleur with the tri-flow, and just work that in, and that makes everything work smoother. Last thing I'll do is try to clean up the drivetrain a little. 5-speed. There's plenty of space in here. And then just get your old rag and try to pull off as much of that. Some places it really cleans it up well, but this is way better than it was. I've already gotten a lot of this right in here. It's good for getting around these spokes too. There's a lot of little corrosion around the spokes, and it's really hard to get that with a steel wool. Onto the front wheel. There's not as many large pitting spots, and that really came out nice. It'll take you a long time to cover this whole wheel, but this is really good for hitting the really bad spots, like right here. So last up, little turtle wax spray on wax. Just spray it on and wipe it off. Gives it a little extra shine. It's looking pretty good for an old bike. The place I noticed I didn't quite get very good is underneath this bottom bracket right here. And so, see if I can't get this a little bit cleaner. Doesn't have to be spotless, but well, that pretty much does it for this Batavus. Pretty interesting bike. You know, a little bit different than what I'm used to. Cleaned up pretty well, but certainly, you know, there was some rust on it, just like most New England bikes. And I mostly kept the accessories that were on it. You know, the fenders are in good shape, and the electrical system with the lights front and rear are both working. So I think, you know, overall I think it turned out really well, and I think it'll be a nice bike for someone that you know, wants to cruise in class, have something original that you're not going to see every day. In fact, this is the first one I've seen myself, so certainly a unique bicycle. So I thought I'd do a little update for the channel, and recently hit 100 subscribers, and I think that's pretty awesome. I didn't have really any high expectations when I started doing videos and uploading them to YouTube, but getting 100 subscribers, that's pretty cool. And again, I don't have any high aspirations, but I really do enjoy that people are watching it and hopefully getting some value out of the videos. Maybe they're finding some new places to ride, whether it's, you know, near where I am, or just getting some ideas of how to ride their own terrain, or maybe getting some ideas on how to work on bikes or whatever. And I enjoy sharing that, and so hopefully you're getting some use out of that. Other update is that I had a pretty bad crash this week, and on Tuesday, and I was on that Will's Work Road in Mashpee, and there's a lot of little potholes, well, a lot of big potholes, but some small ones as well. And I got in a flat section where I didn't think there was any potholes, and a last minute one crept up on me, and it was very sharp and abrupt, unlike the other ones I encountered, and I went right over the handlebars of the bike. What's kind of funny, the last ride video I did, I passed a hole that would probably give me a big endo, but this one got me, and lost a bit of skin. I'll show a picture here. If you don't want to see it, then avert your eyes. Anyway, thanks for watching these videos, and I'll try to keep them coming. You know, we got the winter coming soon, but I plan to keep on riding and certainly working on bikes. So again, if you enjoy the videos, keep watching and like and subscribe. Thanks.